According to Michael Strahan's ex-wife, he owes $547K for the twins' activities and spends more money on his dog than his daughters. Exclusive court documents from their bitter, long-running custody dispute, which is now over, were obtained by the U.S. Sun. Jean requested enforcement and modification of child support in New York courts on May 19, 2019. While the Good Morning America host stays in New York City, Jean revealed that she has physical custody of the twins and they live with her in Wilmington, North Carolina. Recently, I sought to relocate with our children from North Carolina to New York so the girls could be closer to Michael and so the girls could pursue the excellent educational opportunities provided by the Manhattan private schools, the court documents alleged. Michael refused to let us move, adamantly insisting the girls stay in North Carolina, ostensibly so they could continue to pursue their robust extracurricular activities, including horseback riding and volleyball. She claimed his newfound expressed enthusiasm for the activities came as a surprise to her, as she has been left to shoulder this financial burden alone. Jean alleged in the court documents, this petition is necessitated by Michael's failure to pay agreed-upon child support for our two children, including by failing to increase it annually, and by reneging on our agreement to share certain of the girls' extracurricular expenses. She requested Michael pay her a lump sum of $321,654.98, with interest for support arrears owed as a result of his failure to increase child support to take account of the increase in the cost of living. Jean also requested child support be increased to $220,543.97 per year, which would be $18,378.66 per month. Child support per their 2009 New Jersey court agreement was initially $12,917 per month. Financial burden. She also asked Michael to reimburse her 50% of $450,802.73, with interest, related to the children's horseback riding expenses. She claimed, Michael has now taken the position that he will no longer contribute directly to these expenses, leaving me with a significant financial burden to carry on my limited financial resources, as detailed below. Jean also wants to modify the order so he pays 100% of the twins' extracurricular activities. Jean claimed in North Carolina courts in 2018, Michael requested a downward modification of child support, a request that was dismissed by the judge. She wrote in the court papers, the North Carolina consent order resulted in Michael taking 4 fewer days per month with the children than he had prior to the new order. All this chaos, for which I paid over $100,000 in legal fees, and the only thing that changed was that Michael sees the children less. Jean then explained how Sophia and Isabella had been accepted to 2 Manhattan private schools. The court papers alleged, Michael took the position that he did not want the children to move closer to him. She quoted a letter from Michael's lawyer that read, he does not agree that the girls should be relocated to New York. The girls have lived in Wilmington for years, have significant friends and other relationships, and are fully engaged in numerous activities including team sports and horseback riding. She then mentions how Michael makes significantly more income than he did in 2009 and is a widely popular co-anchor on Good Morning America. She mentions his work on Strahan and Sarah Fox's The Religion of Sports, The $100,000 Pyramid, his talent agency called SMAC, 2 books, his fashion line, and other projects. Lucky Dog. The court documents claimed, Michael travels by private plane, even Michael's dog travels by private plane. In fact, Michael once told a friend of mine he spends more on his dog than on his children. Jean continued to claim of expenses for horseback riding and volleyball. The cost of all this was becoming staggering and beyond my financial reach. I asked Michael to contribute. His contribution was limited to a few piano lessons and, for a time, he helped with the horses. At my request, Michael paid for 50% of the purchase of 3 horses for the girls, and 1 leased horse, as well as some additional horse expenses. I asked that Michael pay 90%. The same level of contribution that he makes for school expenses, but Michael would only ever agree to contribute 50%. Michael also, for a brief time, helped pay for some horse expenses, as we had agreed, but he stopped doing that and refused to continue. She continued to allege that Michael supports their endeavors by texting them about how proud he is of them and posting pictures on social media of their horse events. She claimed, many pictures of the girls at their equestrian events, pictures that I took, are featured on Michael's social media feed. In fact, the girls' participation in horseback riding was part of Michael's ostensible reason for insisting the girls remain living 600 miles away from him. But privately, and despite his enormous income, Michael refused to financially contribute. Just recently, for example, respondent posted a photograph to his Instagram account of Sophia sitting atop her horse bedecked with blue ribbons with the caption #ProudPapa. This is the same horse respondent refused to pay for, and the same horse petitioner purchased so her daughter could continue to enjoy a sport she loves. There is no question that Michael can afford to contribute to these expenses. It is simply not fair for respondent to argue on the one hand that our daughter's horseback riding is so crucial to their lifestyle that they cannot relocate to New York, and on the other hand to take the position that he will not contribute financially to the cost of horseback riding. TMZ reported at the time Michael claimed in his response that he never agreed to split horseback riding expenses. While he agreed there should be cost of living adjustments, he said the number she mentioned in her filing is vague and indefinite. On April 9, 2019, the parties filed a joint voluntary dismissal without prejudice. The U.S. Sun previously reported their custody case in North Carolina, where Jean and the twins previously lived before moving to New York, is now closed. Reps for Michael did not respond to the U.S. Sun's request for comment. X is at war. But the fighting didn't end there, as Michael accused Jean of engaging in a pattern of abusive conduct towards the twins in court papers in 2020. He claimed she was physically and emotionally abusive. The former New York Giants player also claimed she failed to bring them to court-ordered therapy sessions, volleyball games, and horseback riding events. The abuse claims were later dismissed and they agreed to shared custody, according to Page 6. The family ultimately did move to New York, as the twins now attend two separate high schools in Manhattan. Jean agreed to get an Upper West Side apartment in New York. Fight over money. Why the parenting coordinator last filed a document in this case in June 2022, asking for permission to withdraw from further services since the reasonable fees of the parenting coordinator as ordered by this court had not been paid. Even though she was supposed to have a hearing on July 5, the parenting coordinator rejected her request just a few days later, on June 30. Michael was ordered by the court to pay all fees and expenses, including the parenting coordinator's retainer, in full. Jean was ordered to pay the remaining 10%. Michael's current life. Together with presenters George Stephanopoulos and Robin Roberts, Michael serves as an anchor on Good Morning America at the moment.